Fresh Collate Solutions is here, and I'm joined by Collate Solutions architect Aydin Geeringh. And how are you today, Aydin?
I'm doing good, thanks, Shawn. Nice sunny day here down in South Africa, so no complaints. And it's a Friday. We get to relax on the weekend, so I'm very excited to share some knowledge with those going into the weekend, and then taking it from there.
Well, we share quite a bit. It's also sunny here, and I'm also in a place that's south, but it's South California. So is it?
Basically, California is the size of South Africa and most countries in the world, so I'll give it to you.
That's always a conversation I love to have with friends in Europe. They're like, "Well, they do this in Denmark." I'm like, "That's the size of San Diego." you know, it's
Yeah,
like- so it's always scale is interesting. So anyway,
I know. And sorry, one more tidbit. I know Americans also like to show how grand America is.
yeah.
I was on a tour in California, and they're like, "We're going through San Francisco. This is the second largest port in Southern California." And it's like, wow, okay, right?
we're the we're the fifth most well
Th-
known
They always
behind.
there always has to be a stat associated to it. And speaking about statistics, what we're going to be talking about today, sorry for stealing the thunder, is MLflow. So data science, all about statistics. So I'm very
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for this too because I looked at it briefly years ago, but I really haven't had much occasion to do much with it. So I'm excited to go through the solutions and see what that looks like. So with no further ado, why don't we jump into it? Show me what you've worked out to educate me and our viewers.
So we're in Collate. So, and we're going to add a new connector. So we're going to go to services. And today we're talking about MLflow. So none other than ML models. What I'm going to do, I'm going to click add a new service. We can add for MLflow and give this a little service name, MLflow Solutions. And then we're going to add the connection details. And would you look at that? It gets easier every solutions video. There's two lines that we just need to fill in, and then we're going to
Oh,
ingest the data accordingly. What I'd like
nice.
to say with this is on the right-hand side, we're going to get the information we're looking for. And how MLflow works is you're going to have the tracking URI, so kind of where it's hosting your platform. So when you, this example is localhost 5000, but when you go to the various endpoints, you're going to then be able to see the UI of MLflow and manage your ML models. Whereas the registry URI that's the underlying database. So you can either save your ML models in kind of like flat files if you're running it locally, or if you're doing it in production, you're usually going to put it in like a MySQL database or SQLite database so that you can access your data accordingly.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab my URL. And because I'm running this locally, this URI and the registry URI are going to be the same thing. And quickly, a nice shout out to Cloudflare. You can host your own tunneling service without any
Oh, nice.
account. If you just want to try, exposing a local port to the internet. Not very safe, but for a demo, it's really useful. So we can go ahead and test connection. And then we're going to connect to my local MLflow instance.
It's very clever.
And whilst it's busy loading, just a little bit of a backstory or kind of the information I know about MLflow.
Mhm.
Databricks has heavily invested into MLflow. So if you want to use ML modeling or kind of ML ops for kind of the observability, and especially in this new Gen AI wave, Databricks is kind of leaning into MLflow for those use cases. So just know if your data engineers or data scientists are using any kind of machine learning modeling or Gen AI workflows in Databricks, they're most likely going to be using MLflow accordingly. So always nice to know kind of what the tools of the trade are for the professionals.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool.
Oh yeah, there we go. And successful. I can go
Yeah.
ahead and click OK. And then we can go on next. Similar to our other services or connectors, you can then add some filtering patterns. So when we're looking at ML models, these are the models you're going to register in MLflow. You can say using a regex pattern what you'd like to include or exclude. I'm just going to go ahead and save it so we can ingest everything. And what that's going to end up doing for us is we're going to automatically start running our metadata agent. So we're going to see here, there's some stuff pending. If we go to agents, we have the metadata agent available and it is currently queued. So then this will run and we're going to ingest some metadata accordingly. And would you look at that? We have successfully ran our metadata agent and we now have two ML models. So I've got my PyTorch minced model and the scikit-learn wine model. Because I'm in South Africa and we're known for our wines, I'm going to go into this wine model and you're going to get some information accordingly. Okay, so now that I'm jumped into this specific model, I'm going to see kind of the features used when I'm running this specific machine learning model. So I can see for this wine model, I have fixed acidity, volatile acidity, all these very intellectual terminologies and things related to wine so that you can capture these feature sets accordingly. So that's from a feature set perspective. And you'll see we have a couple different options here as well. We also have in details the hyperparameters that are used. So I believe this is a random forest model. And this is kind of the hyperparameters used for this specific machine learning model. If I'm ever unsure, you'll see in the top right here, we have that view in MLFlow. So when I click on this button, it will take me to the endpoint and I can check on that. Yeah, so that's kind of when you want to go to the model itself. But the great thing about Collate is now we have a platform where we can govern our machine learning models. We have those hyperparameters, so we can see kind of what is the driving factors and the features behind it. But this is really great to ingest the metadata. But now, as I said, this doesn't make much sense to me. I wasn't the one running the model potentially. I want that information associated to it. So I can start to add glossary terms, tags, and descriptions, and potentially the source and or algorithm associated to this feature set or to the actual model as a whole. And you might be asking, why is there two different algorithms? That is when you're dealing with multi-layered systems. You could have a XGBoost or some kind of larger machine learning model running at the top, but then you could, for your various features, this could be an image, and then you have an image or vision model running on this specific feature. It doesn't necessarily have to be quote unquote a column or some data type. It could be an image, it could be a file, whatever the case might be, and then we can capture that information in Collate accordingly.
Nice.
Yeah. And then this is great, but I want to know kind of what is my underlying data. I can see the features, but how does this look in my larger landscape? And that's where the lineage comes in.
Yeah.
So if I go to my lineage, we're going to see this information. So we can see we have our various machine learning model as well as wine quantity white. So I have here my local data set. I've ingested this as part of a data lake. So it's a CSV file in the cloud. And then I can see how it's being fed to the machine learning model in my data landscape. So even at the column level, I can see these same features and potentially the output of what I'm trying to train, which is quality. That's the only one that isn't connected here between the lineage. So when data here changes, or I can set various data quality checks on my underlying data to make sure that when I'm feeding it to my machine learning model, we can trust this information. So that when you're governing your data and your machine learning or data scientists, specialists, they just want to make their models, they can go in and understand and trust their data based on the data engineers and backend team that are feeding them the information accordingly. So in production, this is probably going to be, bronze, silver, and gold before it reaches your machine learning model. And there's going to be various transformations and lifting and shifting of data before it gets there. But in premise, this shows how you, in Collate, you can govern this entire workflow in one place so everyone's got the same understanding.
Well, just simply knowing where the data came from. You're
Exactly,
looking at your model.
Layman's terms.
Yeah, like here's my model. Here's where did it come from? What's it look like? It sounds obvious, but when you go in, this kind of thing used to happen to me all the time when I was coding. It's like, trying to backtrack something, figure out how it got there. I remember debugging that in the insurance industry. Oh my gosh, just data mangling back then. Very cool.
Yeah, exactly. Even if it's just one CSV file or whatever the case might be, you might change or want to apply this model to red wine. We saw that we're getting from the lineage of white wine. Now all of
Yeah.
a sudden your data set has changed. And if we're not capturing that information somewhere, it could get lost in translation or lost in nested files or folders in your computer, and you could delete something. Here, if we're ingesting the metadata, we can govern it and operationalize that data accordingly.
Yeah. Well, definitely. I mean, that's really one of my favorite things in Collate is lineage. That and ERDs, I like ERDs, but the lineage especially, it just unlocks where things came from and how they got there, and what happened to it in between. Very powerful feature. It's great to see that in a machine learning model like that too. I appreciate learning more about that today. Were there any other highlights, or
Pleasure.
seems like that pretty much hits the
That pretty
main.
much wraps the MLflow presentation or coverage today. As per usual, it's as simple as just connecting your agent and then ingesting that metadata. And then we're going to get all that machine learning metadata accordingly. So if I was a good data scientist and getting and logging the description and potential some additional metadata, I could ingest that as well into the platform on top of just getting the model features and hyperparameters.
Most excellent. How does Mr. Burns do it on The Simpsons? Excellent.
That was a good impression.
Hey, I think as you get older, those kinds of impressions get easier.
Hopefully one day I can do it as well. We'll see.
Oh, you'll get older. You'll get older. Trust me. All right. Well, I
Yeah,
think that
awesome.
covers it for today. Once again, you have been fabulous, Aydin,
Yeah,
and I appreciate it.
it's a pleasure, Sean. Have a lovely day further.